I never imagined that a single Saturday night could alter everything. Parties were usually a blur, laughs, drinks, music, and the occasional awkward conversation. But this one, Claire's friend's annual summer gathering, felt different. I had gone more out of obligation than desire, knowing Rachel would want her colleagues to mingle and enjoy a night away from our routine. I didn't mind. I liked the idea of parties. It was the unpredictability that always unsettled me. And tonight, that unpredictability was staring me straight in the face. We arrived around 8. Claire wore an elegant emerald dress that fit her perfectly, laughing like she had stepped into a world made entirely for her. I followed, slightly stiff in my navy blazer, holding a drink I wasn't even sure I wanted. People waved, hugs were exchanged, and the soft murmur of conversation flowed around me like a river I couldn't quite navigate. For the first hour, everything seemed normal. I even smiled a few times, let her shine while I faded quietly into the background, the role I played most nights. Supportive, steady, the one who never demanded attention, but silently carried the weight of our life together. I should have noticed the first flicker of tension when we were at the bar. Claire leaned slightly closer than usual. I felt her hand brush mine, not the casual, fleeting touch I had grown accustomed to, but deliberate. My chest tightened without reason. It was subtle, almost playful, and I almost laughed it off. Parties are full of ambiguous signals. Misreadings are expected. But that night, my instinct screamed that I shouldn't ignore it. Hours passed. Drinks loosened tongues. The music encouraged movement, laughter, flirtation. I tried to enjoy myself, chatting with Claire's colleagues with polite smiles, nodding at stories I barely heard, occasionally laughing at jokes that landed awkwardly. And then it happened. I wasn't ready for it. And perhaps that's why my reaction was immediate. Claire, standing close under the warm glow of fairy lights, turned to me with eyes I couldn't read, lips slightly parted, leaning forward just enough to signal her intention. She wanted a kiss. For a heartbeat, everything froze. The room's chatter became distant, the clinking of glasses a faint echo. I remember thinking, this is it, a line we either cross or don't, and it will define everything after it. I turned my head just enough to avoid her, almost reflexively, and then silence. Not a polite hush, but the electric, palpable pause of time acknowledging a shift had occurred. The reactions were immediate. Some guests froze mid-step, mid-toast. Others looked between us, confused, mouths open but no words forming. Claire pulled back, her smile faltering. Hurt? Shock? My own heart pounded, not from desire, but from the intensity of what I had just done. I hadn't rejected her out of anger or spite. I hadn't thought about consequences. My decision was instinctual, a hardwired recognition that crossing that line, even for a fleeting moment, was dangerous, not because of her, but because of what it revealed about us. I stepped aside, giving her space, returning the world to her. My mind raced, replaying everything about our marriage, the subtle fractures I had been ignoring. For years, I had been the steady one, responsible, thoughtful, reliable. I remembered anniversaries, bought meaningful gifts, smiled through moods and distractions. I carried her weight when she asked, carried my own when she expected it. And yet tonight, this small action revealed a truth we had both known but never voiced. Desire had faded. Intimacy had frayed. The spark we once relied on had grown cold. Claire looked at me, eyes wide, searching. She wanted reassurance, for me to lean in, to pretend we were still something we were not. But I couldn't. Not tonight. Not like this. I looked at her, calm but resolute, and shook my head slightly, a subtle motion, yet enough to refuse without words. In that tiny gesture, the room seemed to gasp. Not the world, but our world, surrounded by people. I realized we were alone together, alone with the truth we had been dancing around for years. Everyone else faded into background noise. My gaze remained locked on hers, my heart caught between clarity and pain. I wasn't angry. A flicker of resentment, maybe, but mostly clarity. Our marriage, once full of laughter, late-night talks, shared dreams, had become performative. We played roles for friends, colleagues, strangers. Then she spoke, whispering with a trembling voice, betraying more emotion than our years together had ever shown. Why? I didn't answer immediately. Words felt insufficient. Actions had spoken louder than anything in the past decade. My refusal, simple and deliberate, said it all. I will not participate in a lie. I will not pretend desire where none exists. The room held its breath. Then a single nervous laugh broke the spell. Someone at the far end muttered a joke. The tension shifted slightly, but I didn't join them. I remained rooted, grounded in a truth finally emerging from the fog of routine, comfort, and unspoken frustration. Later, outside on the balcony, I exhaled. The cool night air was sharp and liberating. Music and conversation from inside no longer belonged to me. Claire stepped out behind me, hesitant at the doorway. I thought she might try again, some desperate reclaiming. But she didn't. She stood silent, watching. I didn't turn. I didn't speak. I let the moment pass. The truth was undeniable. We had changed, not suddenly, but gradually, like water eroding stone. Love hadn't disappeared overnight. It had quietly retreated, leaving us exposed, vulnerable, uncertain. That kiss that never happened became a symbol of choice, recognition, and courage. I chose clarity. I chose honesty, even when it hurt. I chose to respect both of our realities rather than pretend otherwise. By the end of the party, whispers and curious glances faded. Claire and I left separately. No arguments, no raised voices, just a quiet drive home. The hum of the engine accompanied my thoughts. Intimacy isn't just physical. It's mutual desire, respect, acknowledgement. When any of those vanish, even love becomes hollow. That night, alone in my apartment, I replayed the evening. The shock, the tension, the subtle heartbreak of watching someone you love cross a line you cannot follow. It settled into quiet clarity. I wasn't abandoning Claire. I was abandoning the illusion that things were the same. And in that, I found unexpected relief. Freedom isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a still, weightless silence after a decision others fail to see. As I turned off the lights, listening to the city hum outside my window, I felt it, a strange, thrilling mixture of grief and liberation. For the first time in years, I was awake, alert, alive. Not in reaction to someone else's desire, but in tune with my own. The night had been a revelation, the party a stage, and the kiss that never happened, a lesson I would carry forever.